There's been a lot of talk online about, black hairstylists and so forth. And where are all the black hairstylists, the old school stylists with the Marcells and things like that? And as someone who's, obviously black and has gone to black stylists all her life, one of the things that I think that people are doing is romanticizing old school black stylists a little too much. Hi, my name is Dr. Natalie Jones, and I'm going to come on here and talk to you all. And this isn't meant to be disrespectful towards anybody who does hair or any stylist or anything like that. But one of the things that I've noticed is like there's begging for the old school black stylist culture to have that back as opposed to new school stylists. And there can be challenges with both. But one of the things, as someone who used to go to a black stylist, I've gone for many years, and someone who's always had, traditionally long hair. Back when I was younger, my hair was all the way down my back. So I've always had very thick, very long hair, and, I cut it shorter when I became an adult. But one of the things that I noticed that I could not get behind, and one of the reasons I had to stop going to old school black stylists, was the environment of the beauty salon, and where, there is such a thing where black people who work in these positions don't necessarily feel like the clientele that they serve deserves customer service. In other words, you're paying me, but I don't think you need to be valued or respected as a customer. And as such, I'm going to sit around in the beauty shop all day. I'm going to yap, yap, yap to every Tom, Dick, and Joe Schmo who comes in here, plus people who call on the phone. I'm going to be buying bootleg clothes and shoes and things like that. I may even be trying them on while I'm supposed to be doing your hair. I'm going to be eating lunch. My boyfriend is going to stop by. In other words, I may be sitting in, my appointment may have been at 9 o'clock, but it's 5 p.m. and I'm still sitting in the chair waiting for my hair to be done. And I'm listening to you guys talk about, it's like being in a hen house where you're kind of listening to people go on and gossip about fodder, this and that and the other thing. So that was one thing. And as someone, number two is as someone who has, naturally thick, long hair. Back then I had very long hair. There was a lot of hair bias that I had, in going to see someone at a beauty shop. They would take one look at my hair and it would be pure disgust. It would be like, oh no, this hair is too long. It's way too thick. I'm going to have to charge you double, or it's going to be a premium just for the length of my hair. And it would be, there would be all of these attempts to try and cut the hair and, thin it out and all this kind of stuff, or just like, I don't want to do it. I don't like doing it. It would be a lot of nasty commentary about having to be stuck with doing hair like mine, and taking it as a personal slight that someone with hair like mine would come sit in my chair. It was almost like a retaliatory thing where it would be like, oh, I'm gonna have to get compensation because you're traumatizing me for having thick, long hair. Not even joking about that. And it would just be this thing. And it wasn't just a one-time stylist. I've had this happen, over several stylists especially when I was younger than 20. It would just be like all of this nasty commentary. One of the reasons that I think a lot of women have trauma around getting their hair cut, or trimmed, is because, again, if you were someone like me who had very long, thick hair, women did not like that, unfortunately, and they would get scissor happy and they would cut way too much. And again, I've done my hair, so I know how to do my own hair. I just choose not to. I know how to do my hair. I used to do my mom's hair, my sister's, so there were, 4 girls, 5 women in the house. So trust and believe we know how to do hair. And so it would be this thing where it would just be retaliatory with the scissors. Oh no, you've got way too much hair. And it would just surprise, they would do this extreme cut without, consulting with you. I'm the stylist. And then, it would be sort of this antagonistic dialogue with you if you said, hey, I'm not okay with that, or even if you ask them to consult with you before even doing any of that. Because I got hip to the game. I'm like, we need to have a conversation about it. Well, I'm the stylist. I know I'm the one who knows how to do your hair. So there wasn't really a whole lot of again, care for the customer or the client in treating and talking to you about your hair, any of that kind, or what they were going to do with it. It was more or less like, I'm the older woman. You've come to see me, and I'm going to do your hair as I see fit. It was a real thing. If you didn't experience it, hats off to you. But I'm going to tell you, growing up and having my hair done in the South, I experienced this a few times where it was like, I'm the stylist. You can't tell me nothing, and I don't care if it's your hair. I'm the professional. 4, if you got crappy service, you sat around listening to people chattering in the hair shop all day, and your hair, even if it looked good, you were still disregarded. But there's still that expectation, hey girl, you better give me my tip, and my tip had better be a minimum of 20% on top of whatever I'm going to charge you. Mind you, I'm already somebody that the expectation is to be double charged or to be a much higher charge for having, healthy, thick, long hair. So, but the expectation would be, I better get my tip, or you're going to be met with animosity. You may be met with vulgar language and things of that nature. 5, there wasn't, I knew, like I said, I knew how to do my hair and things like that. But, I think there's more of, and I'm not saying this is all stylists, but, from a lot of the ones that I went to see, there wasn't a specialization on health and integrity of your hair, so how can you do it? How can you maintain in between the times that I come see you? How can I maintain my hair and make sure that it's healthy? There's not a lot of breakage. There's not a lot of, all these things. That was, the onus was on me for that. And luckily I kept abreast of that. But, the onus, a lot of them kept you fixated on coming to see them. And so part of what they would do would try to be, would be doing things that may be damaging to your hair without, educating you first. So, wanting to put like radical colors in your hair, or wanting you to do these styles that lead to breakage and things like that, and the breakdown in the health and integrity of your hair. And so while these might look good and they might be in Hype Hair and all those other lovely hair magazines that we loved back in the day, they weren't, a lot of their styles weren't good for your hair, particularly, and I've been someone who's had my hair chemically straightened. So whether you have your hair chemically straightened or if you have it flat ironed, silk pressed, those kinds of things. Again, certain styles are better depending on what type of, what type of process you have in your hair, so to speak. So those are some of the thoughts on some of the things that I encountered with back in the day stylists. And the other thing too was timeliness. A lot of times, lastly, before I forget, a lot of times stylists would show up at whatever time they felt necessary. So not only might you be sitting in the chair all day until 5, 6, 7 p.m. closing time or whatever. Sometimes if you had a morning appointment, let's say your appointment was at 7 o'clock, you might be sitting in the parking lot until 10, because you're styling, and you can't get out of it because maybe you need to go to a work function or something like that. But they would mosey on in whenever they feel like, oh, that's today. If you call them on the phone, oh shoot, I forgot. All right, well, I'll be there in 20 minutes. Time is ticking by. And, and it wasn't something that was like a one-off. It would be a regular occurrence. Either way, you were guaranteed to spend your entire day at the salon waiting on someone who might give you lackluster customer service. Hope that helps. Thanks so much.